afternoon. I'm Charles Lejano. This is One News Now. Malacanang is setting aside disagreements with Beijing after China said that it will not comply with the 2016 Hague ruling. Spokesperson Harry Roque said the government will proceed with bilateral talks with China. And he also said that the country's relations with the Middle Kingdom should not be dependent on the arbitral award in favor of the Philippines.
We will proceed po. Isusulong natin ang pwede natin isulong sa ating pagkakaibigan sa China. At isasantabi muna po natin yung mga bagay na hindi mapagkasunduan kasama na po itong territorial dispute neto.
But it appears that the palace and the Defense Department are not on the same page. Secretary Delfin Lorenzana is urging China to comply with the ruling and abide by the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, the UNCLOS, to which China is a signatory. On Monday, the U.S. declared its formal opposition to Beijing's maritime claims in the disputed waters. State Secretary Mike Pompeo says China has no legal ground to unilaterally impose its will on the region. In response, the Chinese embassy in the U.S. accuses Washington of stirring up division between China and its Southeast Asian neighbors. The embassy advises the U.S. not to take sides and to stop its attempts to sabotage regional peace and stability. President Rodrigo Duterte boasted about how he was able to take apart businesses that he says have been taking the economy hostage and have failed to pay their dues. But due to recent events, we really can't blame you for thinking that the president was probably talking about ABS-CBN. But according to Palace spokesperson Harry Roque, that is not the case at all. Here's the rest of the story from Maricel Halil.
Lucio Tan landed in hot water when Duterte demanded the Philippine Airlines settle the 6 billion pesos in Lucio Tan landed in hot water when Duterte demanded that Philippine Airlines settle the 6 billion pesos it owes to government for navigational charges. Tan eventually paid the debt. Maynilad and Manila Water figured in the crosshairs of the president when the Singapore-based Permanent Court of Arbitration ordered the government to pay the concessionaires at least 10 billion pesos for losses incurred after the MWSS denied both companies' petition to raise water rates over several years. Maynilad and Manila Water later on waived the multi-billion peso award. For News 5, Maricel Halili, we are One News.
Still no relief in sight for ABS-CBN as the Supreme Court has reset deliberations on the network's petition for the issuance of a temporary restraining order against the government's move to take the network off air. The SC did not resolve the station's petition in today's en banc session, but no explanations were given. The High Court did say that deliberations have been moved to August 4. By then, the network will have been shuttered for a total of 3 months. The High Court has asked respondents, the National Telecommunications Commission, the Solicitor General, and Congress to file their comments on the petition. In other news, the Trade Department will allow higher operational capacity for salons and restaurants this month. For salons and barbershops, capacity of up to 50% will be allowed in areas under general community quarantine, and those under modified GCQ can open up to 75% by July 16. For restaurants, operation at 50% capacity has been approved for GCQ areas, while capacity will be at 75% for MGCQ areas starting July 21. DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez said that restaurants recorded a 92 to 100% compliance with minimum health standards.
Papairalin pa rin doon yung social distancing at pagkatapos po ay siguraduhin maganda ang ventilation, yung exhaust system at kung saan po pwede magkaroon ng mga clear acrylic dividers para po yung mga medyo magkakatabi or hindi eksakto magkatapatan, ay siguradong safe sila sa walang transmission.
We're going to pause for a quick break. One News Now will be right back. Keep it here. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. COVID-19 cases in the country have surpassed the 57,000 mark. The Health Department reports over 630 new COVID-19 cases, of which around 300 are fresh cases, while 330 were reported late. Active cases stand at more than 35,400. 6 new COVID-19 deaths were also reported today, and the overall death toll has reached 1,600. Almost 90 new recoveries were also recorded over the past 24 hours, bringing the total recoveries to over 20,400. The Philippines has also reached its goal of conducting 1 million COVID-19 tests, says testing czar Vince Dizon. This as more testing laboratories have been accredited nationwide. Dizon added that the country nears its goal of 30,000 tests per day by the end of July. Over in Cebu City, its Overseer and Environment Secretary Roy Simatu is on the lookout for areas to be converted into burial sites. This to address the backlog in crematories. Officials inspected possible sites in Barangay Buhisan. They prefer locations that are outside protected areas and will not harm communities. The World Health Organization advises local governments to make better use of isolation facilities to avoid the spread of the virus in households. WHO representative to the Philippines, Dr. Rabindra Bangisinghe, said that LGUs must isolate COVID-19 patients in quarantine facilities to minimize infection. The IATF is visiting LGUs to check on their COVID-19 response efforts and to assess what help the national government can provide. To give us more updates, we have Greg.
Charles, the IATF commended Taguig City's efforts against COVID-19, which include a 500-bed quarantine facility. That will be the biggest COVID-19 center among all LGUs in the country.
IATF members visited Taguig on Tuesday to check its COVID-19 response efforts. National Task Force Chief Implementer Carlito Galvez Jr. praised the LGU's implementation of a targeted lockdown at a construction site, where more than 300 cases were recorded.
Isang lessons learned ito na pwedeng i-apply ng isang mayor na he can use yung granular data na magkaroon siya ng tinatawag na targeted lockdown.
As of July 13, Taguig has conducted over 18,700 RT-PCR tests with close to 1,600 testing positive.
70% ay naka-isolate po sa ilang mga kalye at sa ilang mga komunidad na nakasara na, walang lumalabas, walang pumapasok.
Cayetano notes that they are capable of conducting 2,000 COVID-19 tests on a daily basis. NTF Deputy Chief Implementer Vince Dizon also complimented Taguig for its additional 500-bed capacity quarantine facility.
Pag natapos yung Taguig, I think it will be the biggest LGU facility in the country.
This, says Dizon, will help in efforts to discourage home quarantine for patients who do not have enough space at home. Under the government's Oplan Kalinga program, the IATF will work with LGUs to transfer individuals to isolation facilities. Malacanang, for its part, is appealing to patients to adhere to authorities. Treatment czar Leopoldo Vega is implementing a system to match patients to facilities depending on their condition.
Kasi nga, pakiusap lang natin sa mga pasyente, makinig lang po tayo kung saan tayo dapat pumunta at wag na tayo mag-insist, wag na tayo mag-worry. Kung puno ang isang hospital, i-refer naman po kayo sa iba pang hospital.
Authorities are looking for additional quarantine facilities. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III says a portion of the Mega Drug Rehab Center in Nueva Ecija will be used as an isolation facility for returning OFWs or even for suspected and probable cases.
Charles, recall that the portion of these mega drug rehab center, or the phase 4 to be exact, was also initially considered as a quarantine facility for for repatriated Filipinos from China back in February. Charles?
Thanks for that, Greg. That was Greg Gregorio reporting live from Mandaluyong City. Talking to Agenda Cito Beltran, former National Task Force against COVID-19 advisor Tony Leachon suggests that the government take a few pages from the playbook of its neighbors on how they responded to the global pandemic. Leachon asks officials to take a close look at South Korea Rather than build testing centers, the East Asian nation put up kiosks and drive-through centers that provide easy access for residents who are experiencing signs and symptoms of the disease. He also proposes that quarantine facilities be reserved for the urban poor instead. Manila authorities are reporting that most of those caught not wearing face masks or violating curfew are minors. And because of this, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno issued a stern warning against parents. Jenny Don tells us more.
Sharon, a single mother of 4 kids, has to leave her children every time she goes to work. She is now worried about the reminder that parents of children who violate Manila ordinances could face charges or even land in prison for neglect.
Sino magbabantay kung makukulong ako? Sino magpapakain sa kanila?
But City Mayor Isko Moreno seems to not mind crowding city jails with parents who violate the Anti-Child Endangerment Ordinance. Based on reports from the police and the city's Social Welfare Department, over 1,000 Manila residents have been caught violating the required use of face masks in public places, while over 9,000 violated curfew hours. Most of them were minors, some of whom also tested positive for COVID-19. Their parents are now facing charges, a fine of 2,000 pesos or a month-long incarceration if the child offender is between 15 to 17 years old, 3,000 pesos in fines or a 3-month imprisonment for guardians of minors aged 13 to 14. While a fine of 5,000 pesos or 6 months jail time await parents of offending minors aged 12 and below. Manila Police District Director Rolando Miranda said the PNP and the MSWD are in close coordination regarding the implementation of these ordinances.
Dapat yung mga parents yan, responsible din sila dun sa mga kalagayan at sa yung estado ng kanilang mga anak. Starts yung discipline kasi starts from their household sa mga magulang. So kailangan din natin bigyan ng pangil yung ating ordinansa.
For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. And you can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.